like or dislikes. Quite often people say to me, how do I do self-love? How do I practice that? I mean, I have a time out and I do this and I still actually feel tired. What you have to understand is that you are energy condensed into matter. And where your thoughts go, your energy flows. So if you were actually saying, I was sitting down, but your thoughts went to a partner, a loved one, a colleague, you're actually sending energy to that person. And it doesn't matter what you're thinking of, the energy is actually flowing in that direction, and it's not flowing back to you, it's simply going out from you. And it's how you can actually say, I was feeling quite good, and then I had a phone call with such and such, and then I feel really drained. It's because you started thinking mentally about the energy that was going on with that person, and literally it cycled back, and the energy is kind of, I agreed with saying like a whoopee cushion. It's kind of like off you and heading in that person's direction. Now, it becomes a program habit, particularly for carer souls, and a lot of you are carer souls, and you are transitioning, but a lot of you are having to realise that if you sat in the uncomfortability of thinking, where did you give your energy to yourself? Where do you stop and go, I really need this, and I'm going to give myself this, or give to myself this? Then quite often you'll say, I don't know what to actually do with myself. That's how unfamiliar you are with self-care, self-love, and maintaining your energy for yourself at this period of time. Now, the key is actually recognising when your thoughts are drifting to other people, and you can do it really kindly. We all think of people during the course of the day, but if your thoughts are always going to another person instead of yourself, like you're thinking, what am I going to do for the kids when they get home? How are they going to be? What's my partner going to be like? How are they going to be? That is all external. That isn't anything to do with the self. That is you constantly sending energy outwards. You're constantly going, it's external. And, we can have core programming, and I've talked about it before. You can have core programming where you were kind of taught, and it might be that you just had a really busy household and there was lots of kids when you were growing up, and there wasn't enough time for you to be nurtured, so you kind of gone, I'll just sit back here and I'll just kind of wait my turn just a little bit, but your turn never comes round. And so you have learnt to go, other people are more important than me. And one of the things that I find, why people struggle so much with self-care, is that if you grow up and you were told you were selfish or wanting some time to yourself, or an ice cream or a lolly or whatever, then you were told that you, subconsciously, that you're not important, or other people are more important, or all of those sorts of things that actually pile up, that makes you actually defer to someone else instead of to your own needs. And is it hard to recognise? 100%. Is it hard to stop doing it? 100%. Because the key is with our minds, with our brain, is you have to actually identify there's a problem. You have to actually stop and pause and go, when do I actually think about what I want? And how do I manage my level of self-care? And it's really funny, because people always say to me, and I just thought about it, people always say to me, I go to the gym. Okay, well, I'll give you that if you go to the gym because you absolutely love it, or do you go to the gym because you feel guilty that you should be doing something to look after your body? And to be fair, most of the time it's the latter, it's not the former. You do have the people that actually love working their body, and that's fine, and I'm not dissing any of those, so please don't come at me, but it is a little bit about actually going, what do I truthfully do that actually feeds my soul? And I had a really gorgeous chat with someone this morning who said, I should really do something for myself, go for a walk or whatever, but I find it as I'm prioritising, other things have a bigger priority. Really? So you've got one body, you're in it, and you're never getting through, but you're telling yourself that other people, other things are more of a priority. Now you need to understand, in a year like this, which is going to be a little bit of a roller coaster year, they've already talked about that, then you need to actually understand that you are the priority, because it's really important. If you don't have your health, you're going to be set on your bottom, so that you do have to force to look after yourself. And the catch-22, guys, the bigger you sacrifice yourself for other people, the more likely and longer you're going to be set on your bottom to actually see what your own importance is. So it's incredibly important to understand. I mean, I've got so many people going, oh, I'm running here and I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and that's just my life. Fine, that's 100%, but you created that. You've created it, and you can uncreate it if you choose to see yourself as a priority as well. And I think probably this is it, is that in your programming that you've got to do everything, be everywhere, get the kids here, do this, work, do that. Nowhere in there is making you a priority, or looking after you, or creatively doing self-care, Spirit's just said as well. And I think, like, sometimes just taking that time out, and coming away from the opinions of other people about how you spend your time, or looking at where your value system is that you would have got taught by your parents. You know, if you had extremely hardworking parents, which a lot of people do, then you'll find that your programming would be value is in what you do, what you do, what you do, what you do. And yet your body and this energy is going to end up saying to you, I'm just knackered. I'm just really, really tired. And it's because you're not operating in a self-care frequency. You are operating in a frequency that is draining you quicker and faster, because it's not the right frequency for where you're actually at. And this honouring self-care frequency, it's very much about recognising what's going on, stopping, pausing, acknowledging that your well-being is also a priority, because you cannot fill from an empty cup. And if you let this cup, physical body, get emotionally depleted, physically depleted, mentally depleted, then your body has no choice but to have a little wobbly and a tanty to get you to see that you're not actually prioritising yourself as well. And the first clue in it is you're tired. You're tired. I'm not talking about just tired, I need a good night's sleep, which I hear from people, which is a porky that they're telling themselves. It is that bone marrow, oh my gosh, I'm exhausted. So if you're finding 3 o'clock in the afternoon that you're thinking, God, I could just do a banana nap about here, or you're having something to eat and then you think, oh my gosh, I had something to eat but I'm really tired, it's your body is struggling to process. It's struggling to process the pressures of time. It's struggling to process foods. It's struggling because you are not prioritising into self-care yourself enough that says, I harmonise myself today by making myself a priority. Because I'm laughing at what Spirit's saying to you. You don't get little sticky gold stars that says how fabulous, you did a good job because you sacrificed yourself today and now you're mentally, physically and emotionally exhausted. It doesn't work like that. What it's going to work like is your system's going to go, enough. And I can't stress enough, because I see people every day and work with people a lot and look at their emotional equilibrium, their physical equilibrium, and just how exhausted that they actually are. And I think that, you know, there's a lot. I've looked at a fear aspect today, to be perfectly honest, where people had a fear that if they weren't doing enough, or if they weren't helping people, if they weren't doing this, then they wouldn't be loved, or they wouldn't be lovable because they're not doing enough. And I'm like, you've got to stop with this negative viewpoint that you have of yourself, that is where you're riding yourself with almost like perfectionist traits to get it right, do this, do that. Because, put it this way, nothing that you're doing within that can you stop at any period of time if you're under a huge amount of pressure of pushing yourself to go, oh yeah, I really love my life. No, you have to start reprioritising and looking at yourself in a different way. You seriously do, because the energy is not going to let you away with this, guys. And, you know, I think I'd be failing if I didn't actually say you need to address this. I'm seeing it on a daily basis with my beautiful, amazing, incredible clients, and feeling just helpless to actually say, look, you have to trust yourself, listen to yourself. This is a non-negotiable. The energy is saying this year, it's going to be a roller coaster. We're at the start of it, and you can handle all this, but to handle it, you are going to look after yourself first, or need to look after yourself first. And I need to give you the heads up around that as well. You need to reprioritise self-care, but you also need to look at the energetic way that you're actually doing it as well. It's all very good sitting on the couch and having a relax, but your whole brain is like, oh, what's Johnny doing? Or, oh, what's going on over there? Your attention and energy is going in that direction. You're going to sit there for half an hour and you're not going to feel rested because your brain and your energy is all going in that direction. That is not self-care, guys. Self-care is about, I'm just going to poke my nose in a book that I absolutely adore. I'm going to have a bath. I'm going to walk on the beach. I'm going to take a really healthy time out. And while I'm in that time out, I'm going to think about me. I'm going to think about what my body's telling me. I'm going to love, nurture, and reparent myself, because nobody else is going to do it to the level that I need, because they don't know the internal workings of myself, and I need to gift this back to me. So, big self-care reminder from Spirit coming in today, guys. And if you're finding that you're just pinging into resentment and frustration and all those sorts of things, it's because your body and your energy, and spirit are trying to actually get you to see that you need to start now, before we hit this massive energy for February and of clarity through February and March, of actually saying that you actually need to actually look at your own well-being, and you need to look at your self-care, and you need to reinvent it and get a new strategy. So you need to look at this and make sure you're the most important person in your world, and you want to be here for that. So make sure to look after you. Take care of your gorgeous lights and shine on.